Julia Serano stands in front of a packed room at a San Francisco conference, her voice steady but fierce, dismantling a myth that's haunted her entire life. She asks, why does society treat femininity like a joke, especially when it comes from trans women? This isn't just theory, it's about real pain, real anger, and the invisible rules that police gender every single day. What if our culture's dismissal of femininity is the real problem? Femininity isn't weak or trivial, far from it. Serano flips the script, revealing how society's fear of femininity fuels prejudice against trans women. Julia Serano shares a vivid moment from her early days post-transition when she was viewed with suspicion, not because she was transgender, but because she embraced femininity unapologetically. In one unforgettable lecture, an audience member asked if her womanhood was real, an attack on her femininity, not her identity. That moment crystallized how devaluing femininity became a weapon against trans women like her. Serano explains femininity using the metaphor of a velvet whip. It feels soft, gentle, and ornamental, right, but it actually commands power and control beneath that softness. This duality terrifies society, which mistakenly equates femininity with weakness, ignoring the strength it quietly wields in shaping gender dynamics. The payoff, recognizing femininity's strength, allows feminists and trans activists to unite rather than clash. Serano challenges us to reframe femininity as a form of resistance, a source of pride and empowerment that can dismantle the very prejudice it once seemed to invite. Serano merges science and culture with a storyteller's art, showing that gender isn't just biology or just social scripts, it's a wild mix of both. Serano, a trained biologist, refutes the simplistic brain-sex myth, the idea that cisgender brains differ wildly by sex. She shares her own neurological research revealing that brains are mosaics, flexible and unique, much like personalities. This scientific nuance slaps down the black and white views that fuel transphobia, cutting through biology myths with research clarity. She unpacks gender policing like a game of telephone. Society shouts be a man or act like a lady, and each generation passes down this distorted noise. This creates a feedback loop that punishes anyone stepping out of line, especially trans people whose very existence challenges these scripted roles. Serano's breakthrough is in weaving these strands together, not rejecting biology, but expanding it, to argue that your gender identity is a lived truth, molded by but not imprisoned in biology or social rules. This insight bridges a yawning gap, opening new paths for understanding and acceptance. Serano throws down a gauntlet. Feminism must stop sidelining femininity if it hopes to truly empower all women, trans and cis alike. Serano recounts heated debates among feminist circles where femininity was dismissed as performative or even harmful, echoing the same disdain society shows trans women. She witnessed how this rejection fragmented solidarity, driving a wedge between feminists and trans activists, blinding both to femininity's radical potential. She argues that trans activism can't just fight for visibility, it must champion femininity too, reclaiming it from mockery and shame. This means queer and feminist movements must embrace all feminine expressions, from fragile to fierce, because femininity itself is a political act in a misogynistic world. The surprise, when femininity is embraced fully, it flips the script on what strength looks like, no longer brute force or hardness, but resilience, creativity, and defiant joy. Serano envisions a future where celebrating femininity becomes the ultimate act of rebellion and unity. Remember Julia Serano standing there in San Francisco, owning her femininity while challenging everyone to rethink it. That's the moment we land on again with a twist. Next time you notice femininity dismissed or mocked, pause, see it as the hidden velvet whip of strength. Try celebrating a feminine trait in yourself or someone else today and watch how it shakes up expectations. That's the start of change. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.